is talk now about a wealth tax on the super rich, or just much more investing in the kinds of colossal failures that this crisis has exposed in America. Do you think there's a chance?
Well, I mean, I always say that there is no thinking, let's just do it. We don't have a choice. I think the last time I was on your program, you and I were talking about the Green New Deal. And, this is the moment to really define what that means. We need a smart, so innovation-led, healthy, Green New Deal, where along the way we reinvent and rethink what we even mean by well-being. We know now, COVID has completely woken us up to this, that we are only as safe as our neighbor is, both in a city, in a nation, but globally. Had this epidemic begun in Africa, where many countries really have extremely weak health systems, we would all globally be in a much worse state. So we need to strengthen globally our health systems, and dare I say, the welfare state, reinventing it along the way. What Biden was saying is very important, and that's exactly what I mean by let's not just only inject liquidity in the system. We need structures in the so-called real economy that can also absorb that funding. One of the things we've experienced in both the US and the UK is actually a weakening of public sector capacity. So CDC, the Centers for Disease Control in the US, have experienced very large cuts in their funding. In the UK, the NHS, the National Health Service, has experienced £1 billion worth of cuts since 2015. So we can clap as much as we want on our Thursdays here in London, where you and I sit, but if at the same time we're not strengthening the National Health Service and stopping what I think has been a massive outsourcing of state capacity to the private sector, then we're going to be in trouble with the next crisis. And what we really need is true collaboration between public and private. But what we've actually seen is a lack of appreciation of value within the public sector. And now that we're using these terms like key workers or essential workers, we should really extend that to what does it mean to talk about the essential economy? How can we value that? How can we fund that?
Right.
How can we imagine that?
Well, I mean, every politician pays lip service, at least lip service. They always talk about the middle class, and they're always, rallies about the middle class, the middle class. You know better than I do that since the 70s, the middle class has just stagnated. Wages have stagnated. As you've just said, the shift of the economy has gone from workers to corporations. And yet we can remember after World War II, the last massive global crisis, that in our nations, in the United States, the GI Bill, other programs stood up a middle class, housing, college, all the rest of it. Again, could the Democratic Party become again the party of workers and try to take advantage of this opportunity?
Absolutely. And, it's also a matter of how we talk about this. I wouldn't say it's the party of workers. It's the party of making sure that the way we structure our economy serves the majority and not the 1%. And instead of, again, putting it as sort of the us versus them, 1%, 99%, in the long run, this actually is good for everybody. It doesn't help an economy like the US economy to have so many people whose real wages have not increased for a very long time. They are not providing, a stimulus in the economy in terms of their own demand, or the level of inequality that we also, as we were saying before, have in our health systems, as we then know, hurts everybody. So using the stimulus, which absolutely is needed, because let's be frank, it's going to be, a very long recovery. It's going to take a long time to happen. We need to structure it to be investment-led, but the direction of that investment must be in not only green infrastructure, but the care infrastructure, the social infrastructure, which we're learning right now in this crisis is desperately weak. And it can create opportunities for innovation, bottom up by all sorts of different actors in society. This is not a top-down kind of, government plan, but it has to be government directed.